the worst customer you ever met? I worked at this pet supply store called Paws and Claws downtown. It was one of those places where people brought their dogs inside for treats and stuff. His name was Jake, mid-30s, always wore these expensive workout clothes like he was about to hit the gym, but you could tell he never actually worked out. He had this cocky attitude and treated everyone like we were beneath him. Jake had this really annoying habit. He would forget to pay for things. It started small at first, like he'd grab a pack of dog treats while walking around, stuff them in his pocket, then only pay for the dog food at checkout. Or he'd pick up a chew toy, examine it for 5 minutes, then casually drop it in his bag when he thought nobody was looking. The first few times it happened, I figured maybe it really was an accident. People get distracted, right? But then I started paying more attention. This guy was doing it on purpose every single time he came in. What really got me was how smug he acted about it. He'd make small talk with me at the register, asking about my day, pretending to be this nice guy, all while stealing from us. He even had the nerve to complain about our prices being too high while literally shoplifting. One Tuesday afternoon, I was restocking the leash display when I saw Jake walk in with his golden retriever. I watched him through the security mirror as he browsed around. He picked up a $40 leather harness, one of our expensive ones, and spent like 10 minutes examining it. Then he looked around to see if anyone was watching. I pretended to be busy organizing the dog treats, but I kept my eye on him. Sure enough, he slipped that harness right into his canvas tote bag. Then he walked over to the dog food aisle, grabbed 3 cans of wet food, and headed to my register like nothing happened. "Just these today," he said with this fake smile, putting the cans on the counter. I rang him up for the food, took his money, and watched him walk out with our $40 harness. My blood was boiling. This wasn't some desperate person stealing food for their pet. This was a guy who drove a BMW taking advantage of a small business. I went straight to my manager Carol and told her what happened. She was furious and wanted to ban him immediately, but I had a different idea. I asked if I could handle it my way first. The next day, I went through our security footage and found the perfect shot. Clear as day, there was Jake stuffing that harness into his bag. I printed out a still frame and waited. 3 days later, Jake walked in again with his dog. I could feel my heart pounding, but I kept my cool. He did his usual routine, browsing around, making small talk with other customers, acting like he owned the place. This time he grabbed a $20 rope toy and tried to pull the same trick. I watched him slip it into his bag, then come to my register with just a bag of dog biscuits. "Hey Jake," I said with the biggest smile I could manage. "How's Rex doing today?" "Oh, he's great," Jake replied, patting his dog. "Just needed some treats for him." "That's awesome," I said, ringing up the biscuits. Then I reached under the counter and pulled out the printed photo. "Hey, you left with something last time without paying. I'm sure it was just an accident." I slid the photo across the counter. It showed him clear as day, shoving that harness into his tote bag. Jake's face went completely white. His mouth opened and closed like a fish. I don't know what you mean," he stammered, not even looking at the photo. "Oh, you must have forgotten," I said, pointing at the picture. "It happens to everyone. But here's the thing, Jake. We're a small store. My manager Carol really wants to call the police about this, but I told her maybe it was just an honest mistake." Jake was sweating now. Other customers were starting to look over. I was distracted. My dog was pulling and I get it," I interrupted. "Dogs can be distracting, but if something like this happens again, we'll have to call the police. I'm sure you don't want that." He started fumbling for his wallet. "I can pay for it right now. It was an accident, I swear." "What about today?" I asked, still smiling. "Anything in your bag from today?" Jake's face turned even redder. He slowly reached into his tote and pulled out the rope toy. I forgot about this too. Happens to the best of us," I said cheerfully. "That'll be $20. He practically threw the money at me and rushed out of the store, his dog looking confused about why they were leaving so fast. Jake never came back after that. Carol was disappointed we didn't get to ban him officially, but she was proud of how I handled it.